I spent some time in D.C. last week, and I sat in a room with some of some political leaders and some all evangelical political leaders and some pastors and preachers and teachers and leaders from around the nation. And we sat there, and so some people talked, and they talked a lot about calling. Okay, like calling, like what are you called to do? What is God's calling on your life? And they defined this in two ways. One guy in particular defined this in two ways, and I'm listening. And one way he defined it like this. He said, here's the calling. Here's what it means to be called. It's where your gifts and talents, it's where your talents, your gifts, and your passions meet the world's greatest needs. And he says it's where your gifts and passions meet and your desires, okay, and your talents, where what you love to do and what you're able to do comes to a junction with the greatest needs of the world. And I hear that and I love that. Like, that'll preach, man. Like, hey, what did God create you to do? What are you good at? And what does the world need around you? Like, that's your calling. And what it does when I hear that, because I really like that definition of calling. When I hear that, I'm like, yes. Like, what did God make me, uniquely me, to do? And what are the needs around me? And it creates this kind of narcissistic idea. And it makes me think about me a lot, where I'm constantly auditing my gifts. And what am I good? God, what did you make me great at? You know, let me list it out. What am I good at? And where are the needs around me? Because clearly you made me as the solution to those things. And it'll preach like, hey, you're the plan A, there's no plan B, preachers love to say. And so that'll really preach. But then there's this other definition. He said there's a second definition. He said, when Jesus calls a man, he bids him come and die. I didn't really like that definition, man. So let's go back to the first one. Tell me more. Passions, talents, gifts, intersects, the world's needs. He says when Jesus calls a man, he bids him come and die. Bonhoeffer said that. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a guy who helped free the German church from the Nazi regime and died in the process. He gave his life for the cause to find freedom for some of the oppressed Jews and oppressed Christians. And he just says, when Jesus calls you, he bids him come and die. And so when I heard that, and there was this evolution of emotions in me. The first one was, I told you, hey, let's go back to that first definition. I like the first one. The die part, I don't like that. And then I saw it in the scriptures, you know, that he does do this. And then I just found a peace. I'm like, what, I don't have to figure out the perfect thing that I was created for. Like, I can just live and pursue God and grow in my knowledge and understanding of his love. See, some of you really gifted folks, some of you folks who've really been affirmed by the world, yeah, die, Jesus says. Die to yourself. Live for him. That's what he says. He said that. Unless grain and wheat dies. Not a physical death, but it's a humility. It's a posturing. Remember how Paul started? He got on his knees. He says, I pray to the Father. I can't. You can. Father, what do you want to accomplish from me? See, God demonstrates his love for us by giving the life of Jesus. You demonstrate your love for God by giving your life for him. That's love. Pray with me.